I want to make sure that you guys are following us on our Instagram. We do have an Instagram that we are posting lots of pictures from the conference of you out in the audience, out enjoying happy hour and lunches and up here on the stage. So make sure you're checking out that page and see if we posted any pictures of you. Again, that hashtag is Internet2Conf if you want to tag yourself in any of those photos. All right, coding is more than simply a job for many people. It is a means to change the world by enhancing efficiency, sustainability, and accessibility. Why am I talking about coding all of a sudden? Well, that's because it's our next Fireside Chat, and it's going to be on coding for social good, making a difference, one line of code at a time. Join Smita Karhade, co-founder and chief executive officer of Reminiscence Technology, Inc., and Mark Swanson, the CTO at Sativa Science, as they examine what it means to design with a purpose and how to think of coding as an opportunity to jointly build a better future. Let's welcome them to the stage.
Hi. Thanks for coming, everybody. Welcome. Like they just said, we'll be talking about coding for the social good, changing, excuse me? Yeah, we can sit down. Making a difference one line of code at a time is our topic. Tonight, my name is Mark Swanson. I'm here representing a company called Sativa Science. I'm the chief technical officer and lead programmer. And joining me, I have
Hello, can you hear me? Thank you. Yeah, so actually ex-physician who transformed into a technical leader. I have multiple patents applied, USP2, based on which I started a company, which is a social rental platform called Rentis.net. We actually aim to make everyone economically empowered. I'm also a founder of a nonprofit, which is where actually we see this capability of coding for social good. It is called as Rangmanch, Theater with a Cause. Rangmanch actually is a Sanskrit word, which literally means a stage. What we do is we actually bring together artists from diverse background for the betterment of community. We do a lot of stage shows, and we raise funds and we create awareness and we donate a lot of funds for the betterment of community. So that's what we do.
Great, that sounds good. And tonight we'll be doing kind of a discussion format. Smita and I will be talking to each other in front of you and maybe with you, getting to know a little bit more about what each of us do. And we invite you as well, if you want to and have questions while we're talking, to join in the discussion and ask them. I think they'll probably figure out how to give you a microphone. Really quick, I have a question. How many of you are coders or software engineers or programmers here? Okay, we have a few. Great. Okay, cool. And also, out of everybody here, how many of you, and this is not a judgmental question, I'm just curious, how many of you feel like what you do for your career, for your regular job, is something that is beneficial for the community as a whole? It's something that's working towards our topic, coding for the social good, or not coding anything. Okay, a few people. That's great. That's great. Okay, that's good. So that's what we're talking about tonight, about how we can make that happen, why it's important, how you can get involved, and that sort of thing. So Smita, you said you have a nonprofit organization. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this is what I do. Actually, although it's not a regular job, I would say it's a passion that I actually do with my husband, who's also co-founder of that nonprofit. It's our Saturday, Sunday things that I feel using our passion or something that we love doing when we are not actually coding or doing our day-to-day job. We love doing theater. And that's when we actually started to get the word out of our world. We needed coder. I mean, you need website, you need digital material, you need publicity material, advertising, and all this centralized, around the coding and your skills. So that's when we actually see the power of coding comes into the picture.
Okay. I did theater too, by the way. That was great. I'm happy to see another theater kid. What gave you this idea? How did you get the idea to start this nonprofit in the first place, or how to do it?
So actually, I was working with as a volunteer for another nonprofit, and that is when I found that whatever we did, all those shows were always profitable, and I somehow thought there if I could make I could be reason for somebody's happiness, that gave me immense pleasure. And that's when actually I started connecting with the community members. So, I mean, I think you will be related. I mean, you will relate to that more because something I see that Sativa Science is also doing something. So, will you able to tell me how you relate to that?
Yeah, well, I definitely could have used a service like that when I was younger. I remember having all sorts of crazy ideas about big, cool websites I wanted to make to change the world, but having no idea where to start or who could help or who to ask for help. So having a nonprofit organization that would have connected me with other people in my community would have been immensely useful. Though I was lucky enough in the end to end up starting our company, Sativa Science, with my dad, who's the CEO, is in here, there somewhere over there. Yeah, Tom Swanson. So I didn't actually need to reach out very far. We started this company with our family. He's a physician and a neurologist, and had just saw a lack of data around cannabis use in his practice as his physicians came and asked him about it. So he came to me with the idea actually, and I said, well, that's great. I'm kind of burnt out on freelance programming for the last 17 years, building e-commerce sites for people to sell things to other people that they don't need. And it was feeling pretty demotivating. So
What Sativa Science do?
yeah, what does Sativa Science do? Great question. So Sativa Science, in a nutshell, we help anybody in the medical cannabis space, that's patients or physicians or dispensaries, or really anybody who's involved. We help them understand how to use medical cannabis safely and effectively. We do this primarily through a new product that we just launched called Lumina. It's a SaaS product. So it's a website online you can reach from anywhere in the world on a browser. It's available to anybody, especially patients, for free. And patients can come sign up, tell us about what kind of symptoms they're trying to treat with cannabis, what cannabis products they're taking, what other pharmaceuticals they're taking, and then tell us on numeric scales that we give them how it's working for them. So like every 2 weeks, we ask them, how's your pain doing for the last 2 weeks? How's it doing for the last 2 weeks? Have you changed cannabis products? And then we can give them an overview, so a graphical visualization of their pain over time that they've been reporting to us about, look, it's been going up, it's been going down. Here's when you changed cannabis products. Here's when you started that pharmaceutical medication. So they can get an idea of how it's working for them, if it is, if it isn't.
So is it free for the patients?
Yeah, free for patients. And we're committed, we always want to be free for patients, partly because that's where our information is coming from. We don't want to limit their motivation to give us information. Also, it's the primary community that we kind of set out to serve in the first place. I know there's this huge there's a huge number of people who are seeking treatment from alternative medications. Just to give you maybe an idea of some of the numbers that we found, about out of maybe every 10 million people in the United States, maybe a little over 100,000 of them are suffering from treatment-resistant epilepsy, maybe 250,000 of them treatment-resistant depression, 500,000 of them treatment-resistant pain, and the list goes on. There's anxiety, sleep deprivation, sleep problems, there's PTSD, there's tremor, all these things. And these are all people who have tried to go through the normal, our medical system in the United States, and whatever we normally do just hasn't worked for them for whatever reason. And they're looking for alternative treatments. And these people spend about $33 billion a year in the United States alone on alternative medications, on nutraceuticals. Yeah, and the biggest one is cannabis. So there's a huge gap of knowledge, and we're trying to help people bring together all of this knowledge and share it among each other, among the community.
It's pretty interesting. I like about the most important thing I like about doing community work is you get to meet a lot of inspiring people. And the biggest thing that you see is different ideas and how people, there's a tremendous amount of data that you see and you do not even realize it is kind of for me, it's an immersion in the field and getting inspired. And this is where actually when I got the idea of what I'm doing for what I can say is my bread and butter is I come up with the idea of a social rental platform called rentis.net that we recently found and CIT. People are really loving it. It's because our aim is, making everyone economically empowered. And that I think I could have never thought about it if I would have not involved in any community work.
Okay, so renties.com, it sounds like people,
Rentis.net.
oh, sorry. Oh, renties.net. Renties.net. Obviously it sounds like people are renting things. What are people renting?
Oh, actually, the beta version is just available. The full version will be available in upcoming spring.
Okay.
So anything you can rent other than the firearms and the pornography material, anything is available. I mean, the suit you're wearing, the dress I'm wearing, anything that is lying idle at your home that you can rent. You can see it's a Airbnb of renting.
Okay, cool. I like that. What gave you that idea? How did you come up with that?
That is very interesting. Actually, I was working on another idea, which is really, really big. And I actually been to few VCs, and they all thought it is too good to believe. And I was actually about to share that idea, and I was thinking that okay, somewhere in the later stage, I may be able to deliver. But there's a what you can say persistence. All startup founders, I think, in this room will have those kind of things. Somewhere I wanted to showcase. I was looking for vertical, and this idea stuck to my mind. And all what?
Yeah, okay. I could use something like that. I just had a 10-month-old, or I had them 10, I didn't have them. There was a 10-month-old that was born and I was partly responsible. They're 10 months old now. And so we're going through that process of finding all the baby things and those things change every month. So being able to rent baby stuff like baby gates would be great. But it's not available yet, you're saying, for me.
Yeah, it will be available very much.
Okay. Now I can think of some potential problems, like, for example, things getting broken or stolen, or I don't know, things like that. How do you deal with that?
There will be a protection available for every renter
Mhm.
based on that. And the best thing is we are not going to dictate any term. It is your item, it is your responsibility, and you are the one who is going to the boss. You're going to decide on how much you want to have as a rental cost and deposit. And it is going to be, you're going to rent the community, so you'll be able to see who is going to visit your home, who is that going to be the person. So I think that will pretty much cover the things.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So you're renting things or collecting things, distributing things. We're trying to collect distributed knowledge. It's a nice combination. So yeah, I don't know. What do you want to talk about next? Let's see.
I will like to talk about, when I actually, it's a great, from for my own thing, when I look at in the mirror, I think, it's a great spectrum that one person can have a multiple dimensions. And then I start thinking, why it is so? What is that need that we all have? We all are even in this room because we are all satisfied at particular level. Something called as Maslow's
Oh,
hierarchy.
Maslow hierarchy of needs. Yeah.
So that is what, when your inner thing is you're satisfied, your mental, your physical needs are satisfied. That's when actually you start feeling that vacuum, and that vacuum is fulfilled or filled when you start thinking about your surroundings, your community.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
So that's when I feel that, as an artist, could do using those passion, betterment of community. You as a coder, or people here as a coder, if they could give some time, their skills can be used for community. It will be really, really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, coding for companies for a long time, and then just starting to get more and more demotivated about what I was doing, right? Because it doesn't feel that interesting or maybe helpful or meaningful. So it's nice to move into something that's a little more possibly useful for people. Hopefully, that's the idea. So we'll be, if I could talk a little bit more about what we're doing with the knowledge that we're collecting and distributing. Yeah, we're hoping to, like I said, keep it free for patients. We're also going to try to distribute that knowledge to physicians because there's a great lack. I was talking earlier about my dad, who's a CEO, and he's an epileptologist. He came up with this because he had patients coming to him asking about medical cannabis. Can I use it? Is it good for me? What do I do? Is it safe? And there's not really a lot of information available out there about it in terms of clinical data and scientific data. There's a lot of anecdotal information. Obviously, it's been around for thousands of years. There's sort of ancestral information, but we don't have that well organized in our sort of modern, medical system. So he was having a really hard time answering that question, right? As a lot of physicians do. They say, yeah, I don't know. Is it good? I'm not sure. It's federally illegal. I don't know if I want to prescribe it. That sounds scary. So we have this huge group of people that's being, is looking for a treatment, a group of people, the physicians who want to help, but they don't know how. And the result is that there's this large part of our population, people who need treatment, who are being largely ignored by our medical system because of the way it works. So we're trying to gather and share that, help those people.
It's actually a lot of data that you guys are going to gather, but what about the safety? Are you going to sell that data or how it is actually?
Sure. Obvious, obvious question a lot of people have. What do we do with the data? Thank you for asking that. We were never going to sell anybody's personal data. That's one of our big sort of thing. The whole point of this is to help the patients understand and empower them how to use cannabis in a safe way. So we're not going to sell any of that data. Everything's de-identified. Tom, the CEO, my dad, the epileptologist, was also a basic scientist for a long time, participated in lots of clinical trials. So he's very versed in de-identifying data, making it safe to share. We do want to share the analytics across all of this data, like what the results are, what seems to be helpful on a whole, but we're not going to share that individual data unless, of course, people want us to share it with their specific physician, which is something they can do. They can say, hey, can you give my physician this data? And then we will share their data with their physician, which will empower their physician to treat them more effectively. We provide the physician with information about safety. So that's a big concern that people have. Can I use cannabis with the pharmaceutical medications I'm taking? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. A lot of people don't know. So we're providing kind of that up-to-date data to the physicians so that they can help treat their patients as well. And yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I probably have some questions for you. Oh yeah, that's right. So you got it's a startup still. You said you're in beta. It's not quite available yet, but how is that going? Are you funded? Are you looking for where are you in that beta process?
Actually, we are looking for funding.
Okay, looking for funding, great.
Yeah, right now we are self-funded.
Self-funding, okay. Any investors in the audience? All right, so you're looking for funding. How is that going with self-funding? Is it working out all right? Okay, pretty good. That's great. We're also possibly going to be looking for funding soon. Haven't found, we're not quite there. I think we're ready for some angel investing if people want to do, but right now we just need people to spread the word, make people more aware of the kinds of things that are happening. I think we need that probably on a community-wide level, right? Not just Sativa Science. We need people to be a little more aware of these kinds of projects as a whole, maybe get involved in these kinds of projects as a whole. I know Smita and I were talking earlier about, how do people get motivated to, I don't know, do coding for good, something that's not just for profit. And Smita brought up the awesome idea of, maybe you don't have to make it your career to just volunteer all of your time, but we're all here. Like you were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Right. So how you want people to get involved if they want to get involved?
Yeah, if they want to get involved right now, just spread the word, tell physicians, tell dispensaries, tell other people that there's a thing out there that can help them become empowered with knowledge. We're all here. If we're here coding at this conference, if you're coders in general, you probably got your bottom tiers of Maslow's hierarchy figured out, right? Physical safety and physiological needs. And I think it's a good time for all of us, instead of just thinking about how we can make more money, to think about moving up in that tier. If you're familiar with it, you can look for belonging next. in your friends, your family. It's a greater community. That's kind of what we're talking about here. You can look for meaning in the projects that you're doing, then move up to what is it? Esteem, self-esteem, I think. You know, you do projects, you can feel good that your skill set, yeah.
For a bigger goal, and we all don't know from where we are coming, where we are going. So in between, we live one life, and I think if we could use some skills that we have acquired over the period, that gives us tremendous joy, and we should do for that particular goal.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that I can't say it better. That's good. I don't know. That sounds like a pretty good thought to end on. Do you have anything else to say? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? We look like we have 15 minutes left, and we sort of chatted about some things. But anybody got any thoughts? What about any other interesting projects people are working on? Thoughts about Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Or any other.
Any other thoughts? Okay, cool. Somebody's walking up.
Inspired.
Maybe, or she's walking away. I'm not sure.
I want to give a big apply for the nonprofit work you're doing.
Yeah, that's great.
With the Rinty program that you're coming up with, have you also thought about how they can evolve in helping like kids as an orphanages? How can you work with the state to kind of help those kids facilitate the gaps there? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, so actually we are taking this program in college and universities, and we got very good feedback because there are different kinds of aspects that theater can bring up. So we come up with the idea of theater in the therapy. We thought that if the school and universities get involved, then this program will actually grow many, many folds more. And the other thing that will actually bring is the imbibing good value system in kids. Why we are today, in this giving mindset, because our parents, the entire system is responsible. They say that it takes village to raise a child, and we have actually extended that proverb saying it's community. It takes community to raise community. So we are having those plans to expand in that direction.
Thank you. Wherever you, yeah, thank you for your question.
So I have a question. So I heard those of you say that you're looking for investment, you're looking for country. So in your mind, if you want to grow from the current stage to the next stage, how much investment are you looking for?
So right now we are looking for around $1 million for the marketing, for the scaling of the thing, because whoever I'm meeting, people are just saying, oh, this is incredible idea. Is it available? So I am actually distributing cards, and I am kind of thrilled to see the experience and the excitement. I did not expect it. Personally, when I faced problem, when I came to convention, I was looking for something which was not available. And I thought, oh my God, if this renties would have been available, I would have been very lucky. So, your own pie. So that is some kind of experience that I'm getting right now.
Do you have any product to sell or any service to sell?
Yes. Yes.
So what is
it? Is, if you go to our website called renties.net, you will find out. So right now it is available for people who can list their items, and the full service will be available in month of March or maybe early spring. That is the planning. So right now people are just registering with their interest.
so they just register, so they don't get any service, so be prepared. So what's your discount?
No, you will pay anything right now. This, if I ask, understand your question.
Yeah, you're looking for investment.
Oh, we have a complete presentation. We can talk offline after this. I mean, if you are really interested in that, I will be glad to share those details with you. Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
So next question. In your investment plan, how fast is the return rate?
It's very, very fast. I will, that's what I said. I will say, because the whole presentation is ready. I will be more than glad to share with you that.
So next question. How much is the profit?
For us, you are going to do the profit on every transaction, right? That's why if I had to give you, without explaining all the details, if I had to explain my idea, I will say it is Airbnb and renting. So you know the entire business model. I don't need to even talk about it, right? Or you just go see the chef's model, chef. And we are going to start it San Francisco Bay Area. So people are very, very, excited, and people are asking because I have this non-profit. I have this, what I can say, USP is people know me already. So if I am launching something, they are very much interested. Oh, when it is going to come into the market? So I'm already there.
Cool. This question is from Mark.
Yeah, hi.
You are collecting a lot of data.
Yeah.
for patients. What's the grand plan of where, how you can do it? Obviously, there are policies. But what is the grand plan?
Okay, yeah, great question. If you didn't hear it, he's asking, we're collecting all this data in Sativa Science around the usage of medical cannabis, and he said, what's the grand plan for all of this data? What are we going to do with it? We're going to do a number of things with it that actually I'm kind of excited about. One is we're just straight to the patients. We're going to provide sort of the results of the analysis that we're doing on this data across all the patients that are using our system. We'll be able to actually make recommendations to people if somebody comes up. Right now, if I diverge, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to use medical cannabis for whatever they're doing, and they're doing a lot of self-experimentation. I've talked to already a bunch of people at this event who have like, oh yeah, no, my dad's trying to treat this, my mom's trying to treat this, and so we've tried this thing, we've tried that thing, we've tried this thing. Like, well, what should we do? And the answer right now from physicians is like, well, I don't know, try some more stuff, see what works for you. And it seems like every individual person is having to do this long process of experimentation on themselves. So we're trying to take all of their experimental data, conglomerate it or put it together, do an analysis on it, and then provide the results of sort of what's it called, the community, where everybody provides the stuff. Oh man, I forget the name of it. Crowdsourced. Thank you, whoever said that. It's a crowdsourced data. So that's one of the huge things we want to do this data, just give it right back to the community, but not just the data they gave us, but here's the data everybody else gave us. Of course, not their personal information, but the results of that. We're also giving that data to physicians so that they can more effectively treat their patients. So again, the physicians don't have to read all the research papers. They don't have to do all the data themselves, all this trial and error. We go to the physicians, say, here's what we know about the safety of cannabis and Epidiolex, or that's also cannabis, but cannabis and any other pharmaceutical you can take. Here's the safety we know about it. Here's the research. Here's everything we've gotten. So that individual physician doesn't have to go through the process of figuring it out. We can also inform clinical trials. So, we're not an actual clinical trial. We're just helping people collect this data, but there are so many clinical trials to be done, and there are so many possible things that these molecules are good for that, we couldn't do all these trials on all the different possibilities. So we can help guide what kinds of things might be interesting to bother doing the whole process, really expensive process, doing the clinical trials. So we can also help guide where should bother investigating. Those are the big things we want to do with that information. Thank you. Mark is good. Thanks. Yeah.
Have you thought about the impact of the cannabis on the community? And if so, have you targeted any of the behavioral health facilities?
You say the first part again?
Have you thought about the impact of mental health with cannabis? And have the second part, have you targeted any mental health facilities or behavioral health facilities that you may affect?
Yeah, great question. We've certainly thought about it, and similar to other physiological non-mental health focused things, it's a it's a wild west of it seems like it probably works for some stuff. It probably doesn't work for everything that everybody says it works for. Is somewhere in between. And you know, we as a whole, as a community, don't know for sure yet what it works for. So we're also trying to collect data on that, right? Definitely depression and anxiety, PTSD stuff is a thing that we're making sure to focus on. So absolutely, mental health is going to play a role. We have not specifically partnered, to the second part of your question, with any mental health institutions, but we are in where we are right now in our phase is trying to find institutions, physicians, dispensaries, anybody who's interested to partner with. So if you know of somebody who would be interested, that is absolutely something we want to do. Please talk to me afterwards. Now, thank you for asking.
Hi.
Yeah,
So this
hi.
would be more of a hypothetical, but let's say you do eventually and hopefully partner with dispensaries. How do you then plan to give them that information? Like, is it a booth that people go and say, I have this, and this problem? Or is it more so like giving the person behind the counter that information? Because at some point, you know, dispensaries are going to be so popular that it's just like a shop that you're looking for a shirt. So it's only a sales associate, maybe not the most, you know, knowledgeable person that's read all the data that you provided.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's an awesome question. Yeah, the bud tenders, the people behind the counter, a lot of times, I mean, just like the physicians, don't know, just like any of us, you know, we don't really know. They don't have a strong data set to draw from. A lot of people go into these shops. Maybe they're already dubious of cannabis because, I don't know, there's some bad reputation. And they talk to bud tenders, and a lot of bud tenders, you know, I don't know, they're like, yeah, you got headaches, and try this one. You like sativa, you like indica, which, by the way, are largely irrelevant categories now because of the way that we've been breeding plants. And that is one of the big problems. Bud tenders don't know. So one of the facets of our program, Lumina, is a bud tender section. So what we're hoping to charge dispensaries for is essentially some analytics about their own products. So we can tell them, you know, these are the products that you're stocking right now that from all of our data seem to work well for pain, seem to work well for, you know, whatever, this thing, that thing, so that when a person comes in, walks up to the bud tender and says, hey, I've got tremors, I've never used cannabis, you know, my buddy said maybe it would work, what do I do? The bud tender doesn't have to know about all the science. They don't have to know it up in our system. They could just punch in, you know, tremors. And then we have this cool, because of our analytics, drop down thing that says, well, of all the products you stock, here's the one that people report works the best for tremors. You know, it's a gummy. If your person doesn't like a gummy, here's the best, you know, oil or vape that works for tremors. So we try to make it really easy for bud tenders to quickly give recommendations without having to have a lot of medical knowledge. That's sort of our big selling point.
Incredible. I mean, I don't practice now. It was 20 years ago, but I could see the great value as a physician. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys are doing really great work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this comes from some of my own frustrations with trying to deal with the medical system and get my records and understand why I'm even being prescribed something or not something, and trying to ask questions. And it would be really nice, me personally, and this is what we like to do, to empower the individual patient, or really just everybody. Here's knowledge that physicians can have, dispensaries can have, patient can have about, you know, why try this, why try that? Here's what we think works. Hello.
A real brief comment. Gary had mentioned about mental health. I just wanted to throw this out there to people that even the people that use recreational cannabis, they're using it for a medical reason. And most often that is some kind of mental health issue. Mental health, separating mental health from brain is very difficult. So when you think about cannabis use, again, everyone is using it for brain purpose.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's been so much negative propaganda against cannabis over however many years, and that's a whole soapbox we can go into. That you know, it's got this bad rep, and a lot of people are interested, want to try something, but you know, they're like, oh, I'm not a druggie. I'm afraid of the gateway drug. Which the terms worry about, but it's okay. Like you were saying, yeah, a lot of people who use it recreationally, they're looking for relaxation. They're looking to solve their anxiety. They're looking just to chill out from their heavy day at work. Those are absolutely mental health medical uses, whether or not you categorize them as recreational or medical. That's absolutely a great point.
You're done?
Yeah, looks like we're right at the 1 minute mark. So that was great. Thank you so much for the questions.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Smita.